Peter Hale had it all. He was the CEO of Hale Enterprises, a multi-billion-dollar tech empire, his face on the cover of every business magazine, and the name on everyone's lips. Yet despite his success, there was always something missing. He didn't have the one thing he truly wanted, someone who saw him for who he was, not just his fortune. And then came Eliza Brooks, his new assistant. The moment Peter laid eyes on her, he knew something was different. She wasn't like the others who always fawned over him or sought to win his favor with smiles and compliments. She was focused, calm, professional, and something about her sharp, knowing gaze intrigued him. Eliza had moved to the city only a few weeks before, but already she had a reputation in the business world for being meticulous and capable. Peter had no idea, of course, that beneath her poised exterior, she harbored a secret. She wasn't just an assistant. She had been hired by a rival tech conglomerate to infiltrate Hale Enterprises and gather sensitive information about his upcoming project, a project that could decide the future of his company. Her job was clear: get close to Peter, find out what he was working on, and report back to her employers. But what she didn't expect was to fall for him. It didn't take long for Peter to notice how sharp Eliza was. She handled everything with quiet efficiency, so much so that, after a few weeks, he found himself trusting her with increasingly sensitive matters. It was clear she was more than just an assistant. She had a way of handling things with a calm confidence that made him feel at ease, even when the pressure at work was mounting. One evening, after a particularly stressful board meeting, Peter was reviewing some documents in his office, when Eliza knocked and entered, carrying a tray with a drink and a file. "Mr. Hale," she said, setting the tray down with a gentle smile. "I thought you might want some coffee. You've been here for hours." Peter looked up, surprised to see her standing there, and for a moment, something flickered in his chest, a warmth he hadn't felt in a long time. He didn't know why, but with her, the constant tension he felt at work seemed to slip away. Her presence was like a breath of fresh air in the suffocating atmosphere of the office. "Thank you," he said, his voice softer than usual. She nodded, her eyes briefly meeting his. There was something in that glance, something unspoken, that made Nathaniel pause. "I should get back to work," she said, turning to leave, but Nathaniel spoke before she could walk away. "Eliza." She turned back toward him, her expression neutral but attentive. I've been meaning to say this. You're doing a great job. I haven't had someone like you on my team in a long time," Peter said, his tone sincere. She was surprised, though she didn't let it show. It was rare for him to be this direct, especially with someone like her, an assistant, in a sea of people vying for his attention. She gave a small, polite smile. "Thank you, Mr. Hale. I'm just doing my job." Peter's gaze lingered on her for a beat longer than usual, something unspoken passing between them. Then, with a faint nod, he turned back to his work, and Eliza quietly left the room. The growing connection. Days passed, and their professional relationship began to evolve. Peter found himself looking for excuses to spend more time with Eliza, asking for her opinion on matters both personal and professional. She didn't just answer questions, she challenged him. Her sharp mind and quiet confidence made him want to know more about her, but whenever he tried to dig deeper, she kept things close to the chest. Eliza, on the other hand, couldn't help but feel torn. Her mission was still her top priority, but she couldn't deny the growing attraction she felt toward Peter. It was confusing and dangerous. He was everything she'd ever wanted in a partner, but at the same time, she was deceiving him. She was lying to him every day. One night, after another successful pitch to investors, Peter invited her to join him for a drink at his favorite bar. It was meant to be a casual gesture, just two colleagues celebrating, but the atmosphere between them quickly shifted. As they sat at the bar, drinks in hand, Peter turned to her, his voice quiet. "Eliza, I don't know what it is about you, but I've never met anyone like you. You've got this ability to make everything feel calm. Like, for the first time in ages, I'm not running around like a headless chicken. I actually enjoy your company." Eliza's breath caught in her throat, and for a moment she looked away, unsure of how to respond. Was this the moment when everything would fall apart? When he'd realize the truth? But when she looked back at him, she saw something in his eyes, vulnerability, sincerity, that made her heart ache. "I'm glad you feel that way," she said softly, her voice betraying a trace of emotion she hadn't meant to reveal. "But you deserve better than someone like me." Peter raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "You're exactly who I need right now." For a brief moment, Eliza was silent. Then she reached over, touching his hand lightly on the table. "Peter, you don't know me the way you think you do," she said quietly, her eyes searching his for understanding. He leaned in slightly, his voice low. "Maybe I don't, but I want to. I want to know you, Eliza." Things progressed quickly after that night. The more Peter got to know Eliza, the more he realized that his feelings for her went beyond professional admiration. He was falling for her, hard. And for Eliza, the stakes became higher by the day. Every smile, every touch, every shared moment was a risk. The weight of her secret pressed down on her, and every time she looked into Peter's eyes, she felt herself slipping further away from the person she had once been. It all came to a head one evening when Peter discovered an encrypted folder on his desk. It was the file, the one Eliza had been secretly working on. His heart sank as he opened it, recognizing some of the information as highly classified. Eliza walked in just as he was finishing reading the last of it. Her eyes widened when she saw the folder in his hands. Peter, I can explain." Her voice trembled, but she knew there was no way to talk her way out of this. He stood, his face pale, his heart pounding with betrayal. "You were working for them," he said, his voice cold. "All this time, you've been lying to me." Eliza's chest tightened. "I never meant for this to happen. I never thought I'd—" She couldn't finish the sentence. Peter's eyes darkened, the hurt in them far deeper than she had expected. "You should have told me," he whispered. "You should have told me the truth." And with that, the room felt suffocating. The space between them felt insurmountable, as if they were both standing at the edge of a cliff, unable to reach each other. Peter didn't know what to believe anymore. His heart had been shattered by the woman he trusted most. But Eliza, she was caught between her duty and her feelings for him. And as the weeks went by, she realized something she hadn't expected. She didn't want to lose Peter. Not for the company, not for her career, not for anything. But was it too late? Eliza made her choice. She left the rival company and confessed everything to Peter, the truth about why she'd come to him, and how much she had come to love him in the process. But Peter, heartbroken yet still in love, had a choice of his own. Could he forgive her? Could he trust her again after everything?